next one up is Martin. Is Martin here?
Actually,
No,
you may have the older schedule. I believe Martin.
I may have the old schedule. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few
Okay,
people that were joining in the last second, wanted to join the next cohort or are sending their videos in. So Martin is not joining us from the UK.
And then the next one I have is Kripakova.
Oksana, you mean?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, Oksana. There we go.
Yeah.
Oksana. There you go. I was reading the name backwards. Okay, Oksana. I'm looking forward to hearing you.
Just a second. Let me share the screen. Okay. Can you see my screen or not? Just a second. Okay, so can you see my presentation?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Okay. Can you see me? Because I cannot see myself.
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. So I'm gonna start. As I'm previous professional rhythmic gymnastic sportsman, I decided to make a presentation for rhythmic gymnastic athlete and make a nutritional plan for the gymnast athlete. So just here's the introduction, what is rhythmic gymnastics, because many people, it's confusing with artistic gymnastics, it's a little bit different. So actually, I was thinking, is it aerobic or anaerobic? Because when we perform only for 1.5 minutes, so probably it's anaerobic. But when we are training, we actually very intensive training. We do even sometimes like 1 hour non-stop training. So that is, I think, might be to aerobic training. So I mentioned this in my PPT as well. So I took the Bulgarian sportsman. I decided to go in the middle Bulgarian. It's Svetlina Nadinova. And, oh, sorry. So she's a high-level athlete, the elite athlete, won many medals in her life. I will not mention which one. It's all in my PPT as well. So here it's about her. The information. She's 22 years old. Her weight is 53 kilograms, high 172. Sport experience during 18 years. And training time is per day. It's 2 days she's doing 1 training per day and 4 days twice per day. So actually all of us, even me previously, the same. Training length per time, it depends, like 4 to 6 hours I write, sometimes it's 3 hours, but anyway, it's quite long. And competition length, as you can see, is very short, 1.5 minutes or 2.5 minutes. I use the same as everyone use the Harris-Benedict equation to know her basal metabolic rate, BMR, and it's 1,352. So for the strategy, here I have a kind of question by myself, because when I was training, we never use any supplements. So we use, I wrote down carbohydrates and proteins. So, but I would like she take protein, but maybe in 22 years old, if okay, it's okay to use the supplements. But before 18, I would like to use the athletes use only proteins from the food. So for her, I think we can add a whey protein, it's fine. So for carbohydrates, it's helpful fuel the athlete's body, of course, and for proteins, it helps to grow muscles. Also, I would like to use a second strategy, is vitamins and minerals. I use the stables, which kind of vitamins and minerals, of course, is more, but it's just the most important one is calcium. What is increased need of calcium due to the accelerated pubertal development, especially in female athletes with menstrual dysfunction. Vitamin D, of course, for the circulation health, and plenty of vitamin D. And iron, zinc. Okay, this is, I will not read all of this, so I just put down the most important things about the diet. So for gymnasts, we always have one day is kind of light, we called it light day. It's not without the food, but very light, like kefir or yogurt, or maybe one apple or some berries during the day. So during the day, we never have a training. So we train 6 days per week. So for example, Sunday, we use this kind of green light day. What products to prefer, I wrote down here, will not read it. And here in the black square, I put the, cannot see. No. I put the products what gymnasts must to exclude: chips and rusk, all the junk food, of course. So for the drinks, not only water, it's we always use lemon water and water with honey. So this kind of water can give us more energy. And also in Russia, we use wild rose fruit drink. So because wild rose, I don't know if it's called wild rose, but it's full of vitamin C. So here I put the products which need for the rhythmic gymnastic athletes, which products is better to take, and also the calories and protein of what is protein, fat, calories for each of the product. And I put this diet, weekly diet for rhythmic gymnastics athletes. So every day, as you can see, the Sunday is a green day. It's a light day. And for example, if we take the Monday, we can see that I use a lot of carbohydrates and protein food. And of course, water, but you can see like water with the lemon juice. We always add something into the water. We don't just drinking water. So I think it's okay. I tried to keep it short. Okay, that's all.
Thank you, Oksana.
Thank
5.5
you.
minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Oksana. Very informative. I like the layout. So I like your graphics. And I do like the way that you kind of struggle between, is it aerobic, is it anaerobic? And that's hard to answer. It's hard to answer, right? And when we look at a regular gymnast, you know, besides their floor exercises, everything else is anaerobic, you know. But with floor, it's a lot longer. So rhythmic gymnastics, you're going to get a little more into the aerobic, but you still have to maintain a lot of anaerobic training. So I think you struggling with that is normal. I think you did the right idea with looking at preparing her for that. Let me just get a clarification. When you talk about the green day, when you're going lower calorie and she's resting, what is the reasoning behind doing the green day? What's behind that?
It's a reason just to keep our weight and not to go overweight, to keep our weight, because anyway, for rhythmic gymnastics, we need to be light and looks good and beautiful on the stage. So this is it's just for
Gotcha. No, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's why I wanted to clarify. One thing to keep in mind that you may want to change a little bit on a green day, and you can still keep calories pretty low, is that you could use that green day as a recovery day. That's the only day she's not training. So you want to make sure on a recovery day, she's going to have more protein, okay? Because gymnastics breaks down a lot of tissues, lots of pounding. So you could still keep calories low on that green day, but I would supplement with some whey proteins, because the whey proteins are going to be lower calorie.
I can change with the whey protein.
Yeah,
sure.
Because then you could get more protein in and still keep calories low. So I would do that versus an animal protein that you've got to take into account some fat and things like that. So you could do a whey protein.
Yeah, I'm agree with you, because for me it was quite a difficult day, a Sunday, to keep this diet.
Right.
So I think if previously,
no, I think all in all, I just want a clarification, but I would look at.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Very good, very good. Yeah, just add a little protein on that day, and I think it's good. So very informative. Thank you. Okay, next one up, and again, sorry, Drew, if I've got the old list. I have Gabriel. Is Gabriel here? Or
No, Gabriel's not. You must have a very old list. Sorry, mate.
yeah.
I'll call out there's a few
You
people.
call him out. You call him out.
Because Gabriel had an emergency flight to London. So let me get it up. Okay, Stelios Anka Osana. Joni from Belgium is next up. Thank you. And then after that is Chun from Hong Kong.
Hello. Can
Hello,
you hear me?
Joni.
And
How
can
are
you
you
see
doing?
my
Yes.
presentation? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. Today I'm talking about Tim, and Tim is a medium level. He's a medium level triathlete, and he competes in the full Ironman distance and in the half Ironman distance. And later on this year, Tim will be competing at the World Championship 70.3 in Utah. So Tim asks me to design a great nutrition plan for him. So that's what I'm showing you today. So you can see that I start with assessing the initial situation. It's very important because it's the fundament on which I base every strategy on. And you can see that Tim, you can immediately spot that he has got too much body fat percentage to get to a decent performance in Utah. So I want him to drop his body fat, and I will do it in 2 stages. So he is 22-25% now, and I want him to drop to 13-15% when he gets to Utah, so he can have a decent performance. And I will do it in 2 stages. And I will show you later on how I will approach the body fat loss. On nutritional level, I assess his situation as well. Tim tells me that his energy level is very unstable and that he has lots of food cravings. And then I start asking him questions about how he's eating around training sessions. And then he tells me that he doesn't put enough emphasis on those meals. So immediately I spot this problem, and I think it's one of the biggest caveats: pre-training hydration and fuel, peri-training hydration and fuel, and post-training hydration and fuel. Because if you're not eating correctly around training sessions as a triathlete, sooner or later your body will start craving those calories, and you will start eating them on the wrong moments, and then well, you will put on body fat. So this strategy about eating around training sessions is one of the most important strategies to lose body fat, in my opinion. On medical level, as Tim is an endurance athlete, I want him to have no blood deficits, because, for instance, if he's lacking iron, I can make a beautiful nutrition plan, but everything will go down the drain because, well, he will not be performing well. On a goal level, Tim has race-specific goals. He has nutritional goals. For instance, he's a dad and he wants an optimal food pattern, but it has to be sustainable for his family. And on body metric level, I told you Tim should drop some body fat. And I have a few strategies for him. But what I will not do is cut down on total calories, because Tim is a triathlete. And if he cuts down on total calories, he will not perform at his best. He will not be able to train intensively. So I will increase protein. I will make him eat right around training sessions. I will make him eat more fiber. I will never let him skip breakfast. So I will keep it on smart strategies foremost, rather than cutting down on calories. Tim's weekly training schedule and his daily training schedule is also a part of the initial situation. And you can see that in Q1, he is in the winter phase. He trains less hours than in Q2 and Q3, where he trains more hours and he will need more glycogen for his training sessions. Also, Tim is training every day of the week, so his glycogen levels will have to be topped up on every day. So I have to take care of that. Then on a daily level, his nutritional needs, I will always start with fluid intake, because fluid intake is the most important, is the most critical factor for every athlete. Even a drop of 1 or 2% of body weight loss will impair his performance. Plus, fluid intake is also very handy to address. I let him drink 2 cups at every meal. And so he has a baseline hydration of minimum 2.5 liters per day. Then the second most critical point is his general nutrition intake, so his calorie intake. And I will address this first before even setting any macro, because Tim needs enough total calories to perform. He will be around 3,200 kilocalories per day. And he knows that on strenuous training days, he might eat some more, and on resting days, he might eat a little less. For macros, in Q1, he will have a different macronutrient setting than in Q2 and Q3, because in Q1, Tim will need a little bit more of protein for his body weight loss, but also he has got 60% carbohydrates here. And in Q2 and Q3, he trains more hours. So I cut down a little bit on protein and I uplift carbohydrate intake. On micronutrient level, I already told you that I want iron intake to be very good. I also want zinc and calcium levels to be good, because he's an endurance athlete and he really needs those micronutrients. Then, well, fuel, hydration, and electrolyte requirements around training sessions. I will start with assessing how much his sweat rates are, how much sodium he loses. Then I will have good strategies around training sessions, as I told you before. So before training, during training, and after training, I will make sure that he eats enough carbs. For instance, during training sessions, I want Tim to have in between 30 to 60 grams in the form of carbohydrate gels and blocks when it gets more intense. So the intenser the training session gets, the more carbs he gets in the form of gels and blocks. Then we also have a race strategy, and I will be general. So on the bike, Tim does front loading. He eats more than when he runs. So when you run, it's more difficult to eat and to drink. So on the bike, he will have like bars and gels and fluids and blocks. But on the run, he will still try to take in between 30 till 60 grams, but probably he will use more of gels and blocks and maybe a little bit of Coke later on. Then for my performance enhancement strategies, I chose carbohydrate gels and I chose caffeine. Why did I choose them? I chose carbohydrate gels because performance will be improved when training sessions are longer than 1 hour and when carbs are consumed. And for caffeine, it will make Tim more focused. It will reduce pain and fatigue, and it will be an ergogenic aid for his performance during his races. So thank you for listening. That was it.
All right, Joni, thank you very much. That was very informative. And I really like this one. I work with a lot of triathletes that do Ironmans and half Ironmans. So I think everything you have on there is very complete. I like the way you really emphasize the pre and the post nutrition, because when you're trying to have an athlete lose fat, you have to be careful cutting back too much, because it sacrifices performance. Okay, so a couple of things to add there is that you said he's going to be competing in Utah. Where does he live now? What's the climate like where he lives now?
Well, I investigated this. We have like a moderate climate, and I thought Utah would be very hot. But in October, actually, Utah is not hot. It's a little bit more like here. So there is no use to be putting him in hot baths or something. But actually, this is one of the first things that I checked before I started designing his nutrition plan. Okay,
and you're right there. You're right with the temperature. One thing to take into account is altitude. Okay, Utah here in the United States is at a very high altitude. He's going to have less oxygen in the air, and at higher altitude, we use our carbohydrates a little differently. and our fluids a little differently. Okay. So what I would really look at is that how do I need to adjust fluids and carbohydrates for that week before? Because he needs to be there 1 or 2 weeks ahead of time if he can be there to acclimate to the change of altitude. So you need to make sure the diet takes care of the differences that happens when we compete at high altitude. So
Yeah, he needs more carbs at high altitude.
yes, he does.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Okay.
And the hydration is going to be a little bit different too, because you tend to, your sweat rates change. One thing too to keep in mind is again, when we're looking at trying to get fat loss that also not affect performance, is glycogen recovery is critical. So make sure, I would even do a little bit of caffeine after any kind of a training with the carbs, because that's shown to get quicker and more uptake in the system for glycogen recovery. So for a triathlete, especially leading into the race, I would start doing some caffeine and carbs afterwards, similar to what I would do with someone that's like a soccer or football player, where they have a game in the morning and I get match in the afternoon. You want to treat the triathlete up the same way. So go ahead and add some caffeine post training with the carbohydrate, and that will help drive up the glycogen. Yeah, very good. Very good. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks.
Joni, that was excellent. Thank you very much. Very, very
Thank you.
professional. Thank you. Last but not least, we've got Raymond, aka Chun, all the way from Hong Kong. Welcome, Raymond, for the first time on the live stream so far.
Hello.
Welcome, Raymond.
Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So my presentation will be on a weekend cyclist. So okay, let's see. Sorry.
Raymond, do you mind removing the mask thing you've got on your face so we can see your face as well?
Okay, let's see.
The mask. Yeah, that's better. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, if it's not, yeah, that's better. Then we can see your handsome face more so. Thank you, mate. Go ahead.
Let me share the screen again. I think I got some technical issue here. Let's see. Sorry about that. So can you see the slide?
Yes, we can.
But for some reason it stops. It doesn't move. Okay, now it moves, right? Okay.
Yes, right.
So okay. Here's the profile. So basically his name is Kenny. He's a busy guy. So he works on Monday to Friday, busy work. So he only training on Sunday. And when we look at his sports is endurance sports, road cycling. So this is not Kenny, but the sports is require very skinny body type, less body fat and less weight is better for a cyclist for an endurance sports. So there's no problem with Kenny. His body fat and his weight is perfect. All he wants to do is to feel less fatigue during the training and after the training. So we'll work on his performance and recovery. So his weight and body composition is good to go. And another thing about Kenny is he has a busy work day during Monday to Friday. So I will just do a simple a diet plan for him. So less for him on Monday to Friday, but more for him on weekend. He is a weekend warriors. And this is his training. I just want to highlight two things. One is that his training is 6 hours on Sunday, is 6 hours, and his calorie expenditure is around 4,000 to 5,000 calories. So it's a lot. What is his training looks like? This is the map of Hong Kong. So basically, he's cycling one round in Hong Kong. That's why 5,000 calories, and it takes 6 hours to do it. And first, I calculate his BMR, and I look at position stand from ISSN about the endurance training. So I got the 60% carbohydrate, 15% protein, and 25% of fat, and also the numbers, so that I can do the calculation of his macronutrients and also the activity. So I separate two tables. The reason for that is the left one is for Monday to Friday, just working, sitting in the office and working. And on the right side is when he's training on Saturday and Sunday. Sunday. So it's like a huge difference on activity level. So the macronutrients and the calories requirement is very different. So I make it two, so that one is for Monday to Friday and one is for his training day. And so it's different. So the carbohydrate, one is 5 grams and one is 10 grams. And the calories is a lot different. And I calculate all the percentage and the calories. And Dr. Roger reminds that we have to include fiber also in the meal plan. So how I do it is that I recommend him to take all the carbohydrate is the GI less than 70. So the less GI in a food with less GI usually is like more fiber. So I will have that like simple for him to follow. Again, I use the hand size portion instead of like all the food in the meal plan, so that it's more easy for him during his busy life to comply with the suggestion from me. That's for the workday. And for the two strategies, I will pick from the group A. It's most backed by scientific base and science, and from the ISSN position and stand nutrient timing. So basically saying that before the 6 hours, the day before, high carbohydrate diet, like carbohydrate loading, is best for him to increase the muscle glycogen in the body, to store more glycogen, so he can endure a longer period of time of endurance training. So carbohydrate loading is what will best for Kenny, and from the position stand from ISSN. And he is a regular guy, so if carbohydrate loading just from the whole food is gonna be very hard for him, so that during the regular meal, it will be whole food, but between the meal, I will use supplement, carbohydrate supplement, to make up of that 8 to 10 grams carbohydrate for the loading day on Saturday. And this is before the training. So during the training, in the ISSN position stand, a carbohydrate during the training, it will help him to become less fatigued. And that's what it's gonna be look like, carbohydrate during the cycling. And from another position stand, it suggests that sports drink is gonna be doing the work. It will become has the 6 to 8% of carbohydrate. During the training, so sports drink will be perfect for Kenny because he has 5,000 calories expenditure. So it has to be like high carbs during the meal, along with the sports drink during 6 hours. So make up at least combined to total meet the 5,000 calories of his expenditure on the training day. That's my calculation, and for that's the training day gonna be. And in Hong Kong, it will be like very humid and hot sometimes in the summer. So definitely he gonna be need a lot of sports drink to rehydrate him. And due to there's a limited storage in a road bike, there's only gonna be fit 2 bottles. But there's a lot of convenience store to replenish, has a lot of adequate sports drink supply for his sports drink. And lastly, I talk about before and during, and I will talk about the after for the recovery. From the ISSN position stand nutrient timing suggests that the adequate carbohydrate and the protein for recovery, and that's the recovery day looks like there's at least 1,000 calorie surplus compared to the regular day. So for him to recovery, and that's all for my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Raymond.
Yeah, Raymond, very, very good presentation. I love all the graphics and the cartoons and the pictures. That it always helps reinforce ideas and topics when you do that. So very good. I like that. You know, and it's funny, this gentleman that you're working with, I've got a client in the Houston area that it's almost exactly the same. Busy work schedule, doesn't train during the week, and then goes on an 8-hour ride every weekend. So understand this completely. I like the way you had 2 different levels of diet. All right, so you assessed during the week that he had very low energy expenditure rates and relatively sedentary, what we call non-exercise energy expenditure. So good job doing that, and then good job the night before doing the carbohydrate. Okay, now one thing that I would change or kind of make a little bit of an adjustment is that since he's doing such a long event every Sunday, is that I would do a little bit more carbohydrate loading Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Instead of just having the larger meal on Saturday, I would try to, because he's not training during the week, so that's your depletion. Okay, you have your depletion there. He's not going to be, you can drive calories down. You don't need to do a depletion exercise, so he's going to be low. I would go ahead and start adding carbs in like that Thursday, Friday in the evening meal. He doesn't need them during the day because he's not active. I would do the evening meal, more carbs. So that way he's got a little more glycogen into his system by Sunday. Because we can kind of force a little bit more in if we do it gradual when we have someone that has a very long event like this. Does that make sense? Yeah. So everything else I think is great. You talked about the humidity. You talked about the fluid levels. I think that's something important. So just make sure that the hydration. Problem with an athlete like this is they don't hydrate during the week. So make sure that they start hydrating that Thursday and Friday and Saturday for the Sunday event. So more carbs, more hydration 3 days before. And that's really the only adjustment that I would see. And thank you for sharing your knowledge. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you, Raymond. Okay, Dr. Roger, that's it for the presentations.
Okay.
Does anyone, do we need a water break, a drink break? Does anyone, Dr. Roger, do you want to have a 5-minute break?
I'm good. I've got mine. I'm good. We can go.
Okay. Okay, Matt. Well, I'll hand it over to you for the reviews and Q&As after that or before that. I'll leave it in your more than capable hands.
Okay. All right. Let me do this here. Okay. First of all, I would like to commend all of you that if English is not your native tongue, native language, I do appreciate you using English, and those of you that it's your second or third language, excellent job. You know, I'm an American, so American is short for speaks only one language. So I very inadequate in having multiple languages. So my hat's off to all of you that English is not your native tongue. So I think you did fantastic.